So I want to quickly reiterate just like another video that I recently posted called Disappointed in Fortnite Feels, which was specifically titled Dead by Daylight Rant, not a discussion post, about the PAX East livestream. And in that video, I basically went over how licensed content to me does not get me excited. It is not something I look forward to. I just can't really care for licensed content when we get so much of it. What I do care about today, or in general, is the newest PTB developer update that they launched for the PTB that goes out tomorrow. That I'm sure they'll cover more during the anniversary livestream. But this is something that I really like. It's something that's actually very, very enjoyable to me because this is huge news. Like, oh my god, this is huge news. So first things first, immediate going next is preventing. You're no longer just able to give up on hook without you're going to be penalized. If you try giving up, like, intentionally dying to go next and hurry up and go to the next match and ignore whatever killer it is. That's good news. You have to face a DC penalty now. Not only that, they've removed 4%ing. Cell phone hooks are gone. And this only really matters for the comp scene, but in like a normal match, killers hate 4% so much. And as a survivor, I hate it too, because sometimes when you're trying to give your buddy hatch, you then 4%. And I don't like it. So now it's not entirely gone. Just want to make that clear. They've now tied it to perks. Slippery Meat up the ante. Any luck offering will unlock it for all 4 survivors, so those might become meta now, which would be really funny. But the luck offerings also now have the description of unlocks the attempt to unhook yourself. And survivors are no longer instantly killed after 2 struggle skill checks pass without any input. Now, why does this matter? Basically what they did is that they removed the ability to give your teammate hatch. Why does that matter though? The reason is because it actually rewards the killer for separating hooks, kinda, to an extent. Unless you get everyone death hook, this rewards you for getting like the last 2 survivors, one of them having 1 hook but not their second hook. They can no longer instantly give up to let the other person have hatch. Now this will make matches a bit slower. It will encourage survivors to go unhook their buddy no matter what. And it does make the killer, like, if they see you have time to get it down before hatch spawns in. Hatch is no longer like a 50-50, it's more like an 80-20 in the killer's favor. Now, why does that matter? It just makes hatch less of a game and more of like let's wait around and find out type deal. Kind of nice. We'll see how that actually plays out though. I'm sure on Survivor's side it might feel a little bit annoying, and I feel on killer matches might take like an extra minute or 2, which could be kind of annoying as it stacks up over time, but we'll see what happens. Otherwise, they've also added a fix to the AFK detection system. Now when a player gets 3 crows in a corner, they lose collision with other players. So if a Wraith is body blocking you in a corner on the game or something, which has happened to me before, you can now just walk through him. That's huge. 10 years in the making. That's big news. Like that, the AFK and going next prevention, I would like if they made it to where if a player has gains 3 crows by going AFK and then doesn't move for like a minute afterwards. I do wish it would auto DC them and give them a penalty, because if people can't go next, they're just gonna go AFK instead. And I don't like that. That's the only thing I would change here. But I like that we're slowly pushing people to make them have to DC if they don't like something. I know for some people there's accessibility issues. I hope behavior fixes those. I would honestly prefer if that happened this update. Spoiler alert, it's not. But like, I play Huntress. Huntress has a high pick rate. The amount of people who instantly go next is actually absurd. I stream on Twitch for people that really want to come see it. Once 2v8 ends, I'll be playing Killer again. Otherwise, I'm kind of just playing Survivor, then playing Fantasy Life. Love that game. But yeah, that's gonna be extremely useful. Then there's the small little animation here, which is making me have to record Opera, the browser, which is fun. But they're adding the automatic blood point spending. Now you can literally bulk spend. It's like, how many levels do you want? You type in 50, and it seems to say 1,061,750 blood points. I don't know their math for this. I'm not sure if the Bloodwebs are now like pre-generated or something like that, but we'll see. I'm curious during the anniversary if it's going to be better or worse to wait on spending the BP and like spend it manually for the offerings, but they're also removing the level pop-ups for when you are manually spending. or if it's gonna be like automatically spend and then it just keeps going or whatever. But I'm also curious if you can make it spend more than just 50 levels or not. Because if you can make it spend like 200 levels, you just sit there while it goes through 4 prestiges and maybe go make yourself a sandwich or something. That seems really not, there's literally no downside to this addition. This rewards veteran players too for having a bunch of blood points. The finisher Mori system has been updated. The second last survivor is hooked in on struggle phase will now let you Mori the other survivor, and the final survivor is in one of the following states: healthy, injured, or dying. I don't really mind this. So with this Mori update, which I forgot about when I initially went through it, basically them removing 4%, which makes hatch harder to get, kind of counteracts itself with the Mori update existing. Because now the killer can just Mori. But if the killer doesn't want to Mori and make matches faster, they can still hook them to prevent a hatch. Side-by-side play. Map offerings. Holy shit. They're finally nerfed. 9 years later, we no longer have to deal with constant auto havens and the games and Area of Crows and Midwich Pigs. I'm not going to signal out survivors so I mean auto haven. Killers do it too. Blights, Billy, they love that map. Midwich Pig, one really boring. Any scratch mirror is the most boring thing in Dead by Daylight to me. I hate that add-on. This is huge. They're no longer guaranteed. They know they don't stack, and they're secret during the loading screen. But since they're not guaranteed, it doesn't matter as much. Huge change, purely healthy. If anyone wants to try defending map offerings in the comments, feel free. But if you just list, I like it with this build or this build dynamic, I'm going to ignore you. I don't like gimmick builds. God, that makes me sound like such a loser. I don't like playing or facing them. I feel like I should specify, because it's a gimmick until they start losing, and then it's no longer a gimmick anymore, you know? That scratch mirror, I don't like it. They've also decided to make it to where survivors now spawn in the same location, the same floor, the same corner. They made it so the killer will no longer spawn in the center of small maps. That was a problem for early pressure because you didn't have any possible idea where the survivors are. They've changed the Shroud of Separation to Shroud of Vanishing to nullify offerings that change survivor spawn locations, which is pretty cool. And then Shroud of Binding and Shroud of Separation are both where the survivors spawn apart from each other. This is really useful. This is very good for bad killers and good killers, like on a tier list, like Trapper and Blight, because it lets Blight immediately get into that first chase and make them scatter, and gets Trapper more time while they have to willingly spread out on gens and go in separate corners and find gens instead of automatically spawning in 2 separate corners. So then trap killers can set up in the same corner. That's huge news. I love these. And they changed the Shroud add-ons to be what both sides actually want of survivors spawning together and further apart. Huge changes. They added gamma adjustment settings. People can no longer bitch about reshade. This is awesome. So now console players can actually make their game seeable on TVs. If you want to keep the horror feel, obviously you can just not turn up the gamma slider as much. But the purpose of this is to make it to where reshade is less of a, like, you know, PC thing and more so that console people can use it too. TV glare is horrendous in this game and definitely is the reason some people can't loop as well or just miss some important details during a match that makes them lose. They updated custom matches. This only really affects the comp scene, but increasing the spectator slot from 1 to 5 is huge for comp scenes and tournaments. So now you can get a spectator for every single perspective. They added hotkeys to specifically go between characters and controller support for the above movement improvements. That's huge. That only affects like less than 1% of the player base for tournaments and stuff. But like, if you watch a tournament, they're gonna be using this. Only helps people, can't hurt anyone. So that's huge. Hopefully they keep going through this more with tournament stuff. They recently retweeted an all-fem tournament, so I know Behavior actually likes the tournament scene just a little bit, especially the charity ones. They've donated to a few actually. So I really hope they keep this going, keep improving customs. I'm hoping for eventually a free cam and the ability to really go in depth about it and plot out bot survivor movement and killer movement to get certain things for videos, because I'm learning Blender to make a very in-depth tutorial guide series and I started that like a year ago, so there's a reason it's taking a year. Artist add-ons are getting changed. Nothing to base kit, supposedly, although they might be making some of her top performing add-ons into base kit. But there's an artist player named Carnivorous. I'm sure they'll post a video about the PTB once it's out with actual thoughts about the changes, so please go subscribe to her. But yeah, we'll see what that is. And then Lich, oh boy, they got a bunch of stuff changed. The main one though is that the Lich's spells are available at the start of the trial. That's huge, because why does every single killer have their power available and Lich didn't? Dispelling Sphere moves faster when first cast, increase the killer instinct from Dispelling Fear, increase the attack cooldown period after fly-ins, which I think is technically a nerf, which is funny. But they made the duration and movement speed of fly longer, so now you move faster and for longer, so it's more of a map traversal tool than something to use in mid-chase. They finally fixed the bug for Mage Hand to make it more consistent. The magic items got buffed for the associated spells above, and several add-ons got changed. So Lich might actually have a killer variety in his add-on list, or add-on list for his killer loadout. That'd be nice. I kind of wish they listed what the offerings were and what they listed what the perk updates were. We'll get to what's getting changed in a moment, just to like remove some confusion of what they could be changing for tomorrow, but at the same time, it's fine, I guess. Finally, we're gonna go over the killer perks. None of these changes are actually listed. I'm just gonna tell you what the perk currently does off the top of my head, to show you like how much of this game I know and if the perk's actually relevant. So the first one's Call of Brine, which I guarantee you is a buff. I honestly think everything here is a buff besides maybe machine learning. Get that to a moment. Call of Brine currently is when you kick a gen, it regresses at like 175% speed. It's not good. It's like 30 seconds long too, and then it just goes back to normal aggression. So it definitely needs a buff. Call of Brine was over nerfed back in the day because we used to not have the 8 kick gen regression limit. It used to be infinite, and people would combine that perk when it was really good with overcharge, and you basically just couldn't do generators, and it was awful. But it's nice to see that's finally gonna get buffed again. Next perk is Dark Devotion. When you hit your obsession, your terror radius fully transfers over and you get undetectable. I don't know what they could be doing this perk. I like this perk as is. I don't know what they're doing to it, unless they're making it to any survivor. I could only envision it as a buff though. The next perk is Hex Retribution. When you cleanse a totem, you get the aura reveals of all other survivors, and when they get onto a Hex totem, or a normal totem, I'm pretty sure it's just Hex totems, they get the Oblivious stats effect for 45 seconds. I would imagine it's a buff. It's a Hex. I don't think they should ever nerf a Hex. A Hex is supposed to be good because you cleanse it. Now, I understand that that perk only activates when it's cleansed, like Haunted Grounds, but like, I don't know, it's not like Devour. It's an okay perk at best. Next perk that I listed earlier, Machine Learning. Machine Learning is when a gen pops, you get 60 seconds of 10% haste and undetectable. I honestly feel like that one might get nerfed. I don't know why. I don't know what they could do to it, but it's probably getting nerfed. I'd imagine they'll probably make it shorter, maybe like 30 seconds. If they buff it further, like make it work on any gen that's kicked, that'd be insane and might actually become meta defining. Superior Anatomy gives you like 150% faster vault after someone else vaults. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it like a token system or just remove the cooldown off of it. One of the two, but probably a buff. It's not used that much. Then the other Wesker perk, we have two Wesker perks, is Terminus. When all 5 gens are done, everyone becomes, when you injure them, they're permanently broken until an exit gate is until an exit gate not powered is open, actually. But I could only envision that one being buffed too. Some of the, like, all of these are buffs besides Machine Learning, because the next one's Thrilling Tremors, which is just shitty barbecue. Thrilling Tremors, when you pick up a survivor, makes it to where all the gens not being worked on blocked. And I've wanted this perk changed for a while by removing the cooldown, because it has a built-in cooldown of having to get another down. And sometimes you're off by like 3 seconds, but you can't wait to pick the survivor up because it only blocks gens they're not on. Unless they're gonna make it like Deadman Switch and force people off gens for 10 seconds or something. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, it has to be a buff, right? And the last one is Thwack, which is a token-based perk for hooks. When you kick a pallet or a wall, it makes people near you scream and reveal their auras. I don't know what they could do to this perk. I just want it to work on generators. I wanted it to work on gens for a bit. I think because like that's still a break action. So I don't know, just add that to it. Or they'll make it work with human greed to where it also works on closing chests. That'd be cool, actually. I like that idea. But it's not just killer perk getting changes. There's also survivor perks. Botany knowledge currently increases your healing speed by 50% and makes medkits worse in terms of charges by 33%, so you can't fully heal yourself. Just remove the medkit bit. The medkits don't need to get nerfed from that. They're already kind of mid now. This perk got changed way back when medkits got heavily nerfed. They used to be the most overpowered thing in this game. Or in a slew of overpowered things, they shined above the rest. It was kind of crazy. So I don't know, just remove that. Medkits aren't that great. Champion of Light hinders the killer when you blind them and increases your movement speed when using a flashlight. I have no idea what they could do with this perk right now. I think it's perfectly fine as is, unless they want to make it not work with fixated. But then, like, if you don't need fixated to run it, everyone's just going to run it with fixated because then it becomes actually stupid. So I don't know what they're going to do with it. If they're going to nerf it, that's going to be crazy because it does not need a nerf. Counter Force is a perk from Jill, if I recall. When you cleanse a totem, it shows you the furthest totem's aura away from you and then boosts your cleansing speed per totem. If they give it an initial boost to cleansing speed, that'd be nice, but I also don't know what they could do to this. I mean, it's not like busted if you make it to where cleansing totems is faster, unless they're going to cap it to 5 to make it not work against Pentimento anymore, but that'd be kind of stupid to me. Desperate Measures, a perk from Felix. Each time a person is injured, increases your healing and unhook speed by 14%. That perk could do with a slight buff, but the unhook speed is actually kind of crazy, which is where the perk is actually really, really good. So it makes me a bit nervous on what they're doing to that perk, because if it gets too bonkers, people can just mindlessly trade or mindlessly unhook without having to trade, and that could be concerning. Empathic Connection, boost your healing speed and show your survivors your aura when they are injured. I don't know what they're doing that one. All these survivor perks in my mind are fine, and I just, besides Bonnie, I guess, but like I don't know what they're doing. Exaltation is a newer perk from not Felix, Trevor Belmont from Castlevania. When you stun the killer, it gives you back some of your item charge and also increases the rarity of it. Remove the cooldown and make it 100, not 100. I don't know, just remove the cooldown, I guess. I, again, don't know what they could do. And then light-footed mutes your footstep sounds or injured. It could just be all the time. I don't know why they're changing that one either. That perk's fine, unless they're gonna make it apply exhaustion. But I don't know, that perk's not used. I know, like, the killer stuff here makes sense, because, like, the killers don't really have quote-unquote fun perks to use. The quote-unquote fun perks for killer are gen regression, because those are the good perks. Survivors get, like, a bit more quote-unquote fun perks used for their meta slot, because they get a lot less. I want to say they have a lot less value per perk slot, because each killer perk slot has to equal 4 perks, while each survivor perk slot has to equal, you know, 1/4 of a perk on the killer side. So you get to have a bit more leeway on what survivors run. So I'm interested if that is why all the killer stuff is probably buffs and the survivors. I don't know what they're doing to the serve stuff. I'll be honest. All the serve stuff is fine besides exaltation and botany knowledge. I can somewhat understand why those are getting changed, but everything else here I'm just confused about. Obviously, we'll find out more tomorrow. Keep in mind, tomorrow is the Dead by Daylight anniversary live stream. My plan is to stream my reaction to it in the live stream, download the PTB, play like 2 matches against bots as Springtrap, and then boot up DaVinci Resolve and make a video about the PTB, the live stream, and the PTB in one sitting. A lot of the PTB stuff is going to be this. Obviously, we can fully go into stuff like the artist changes and Vecna's add-ons and things like that, and whatever hidden stuff they're going to slide on in there because it's behavior and they like to do that a lot. I don't know why, it's kind of annoying. But yeah, I know. See you guys for the live stream tomorrow. And then I was gonna go live again afterwards to actually talk with people who might miss the morning live stream. But yeah, that's it for today. Looking forward, behavior clicked with this update. I'm extremely happy. I have no complaints. I want that to be clear. This is a good update. I have no complaints. If you have a complaint, I'm interested in hearing what it is. This is an actual discussion video, not me just ranting. I hope everyone has an excellent day. I'll see you all tomorrow for the anniversary live stream.